I was a little bit surprised that I was number one. Not because I don't think I deserved it, but in life, what's always driven me is that whenever I thought I deserved it, I didn't get it. I've never gotten the validation ever in life that when I felt I worked hard enough, it came back. And I have resentment about that in many different places in my life. But I've also realized that that resentment made me work hard. That resentment made it makes me knock out a 10, 12-hour stream like it's nothing. That resentment makes it when I know they're going to go meet up once a week and the rest of the time they're going to be at bars, this and third. They're just having a good old time. I say, I'm going to go create content. Fuck vacations. I haven't been on a vacations in 2 years. That makes me work hard. So I'm not one who, even though I'll be salty at times, but not being number one or just being slighted, it tells me to work harder. And then I see this honor bestowed upon me that Aki, you're number one. Not to get too sappy and not to make this a long story. I know this is not a speech, but when I was just starting out, and I had like a love affair with hip hop. I still do. It's passion that makes me cover and do what I do. It's not the ancillary things. I don't even get to enjoy them. I live in a nice house, but I don't get to enjoy them because I'm constantly working. I still feel like I haven't got to where I want to get to. And joy for me comes in not being on a beach somewhere. Doesn't even come in the sense of being with, I don't know, a significant other. A lot of it comes from doing what I do. I keep telling y'all I live it. I dream every night about something that's happening within the culture or what I'm working for. This is kind of what my life is all centered around, for good and for bad. You know what I mean? It's what makes me happy. I don't know if it's what makes everyone else happy. And people have told me eventually it'll change. But I do want to say this. I remember, I think the year was like 2014. I still had a regular job. And I was starting to make these videos, and they were kind of doing decent, doing good. And I remember driving on the New Jersey Turnpike. And I remember looking up, and I ain't gonna lie, man, iHeartMedia was going crazy with the promotions for the Breakfast Club. And I remember seeing DJ Envy, Charlamagne the God, and Angela Yee. And every time I would pass it, I said, damn, how do I get to be there? I want to be the best. And for me, I had to make a lot of decisions and choices in my life. And essentially, when I say my life, I mean damn near whole career, because I treat my life like the career. I said, I don't know if I'll ever be number one, but I want to be in a conversation. And at that time, I was very far from the conversation, but how could I get there? And, for anyone who's a YouTuber, I hope you guys take this, what I'm saying, and use it as advice. Because I was never complacent with what most would have been complacent with. I kept remembering that billboard. If you're not top one, you're basically not mentioned at all. And if you ain't top one, and if you ain't the number one guy, rest should not be in your vocabulary. Sleep is for the weak. I always say this, you can never be mad at someone who gets more than you if you don't work hard as them. I've never thought I was the most talented person. I still stutter from time to time now, but I used to stutter more then. Maybe not like Flacco, but still. I worked on it tirelessly. I studied other people. I took little pieces of them, crafted my own style. Put a lot of diligence into research, running a platform, doing things. I remember walking into one of the most important things I'll tell you is this. Let me go back to me meeting Joe Budden for the very first time. I'd covered Joe Budden. I reported maybe some articles about him that wasn't that good. Joe had me blocked. And when they invited me to Complex, and this was also an important thing in my, growth, was me doing something out of my comfort zone. And what was in my comfort zone was sitting behind the screen. Nobody could see my face. And just doing these videos.
When you realize bloating and discomfort don't have to be routine, everything changes.
Which I was getting paid from at that time. I was fine. Didn't have to do anything else. I could have stayed there, and I said, nah, I want to be number one. Complex calls. And I remember saying, nah, I'm doing good now. This is 2016, 2017. And I said, I don't need Complex. Like, really, I'm kind of doing a lot more numbers than Complex. And then something came, it was like a angel on my shoulder that says, don't be lazy. To be number one, you got to do something you've never done before, and you got to be uncomfortable. And at that time, if you will look back at me, in college, man, freshman year I was definitely in shape. Towards the end of college, I was maybe a little bit, beefier, but I wasn't fat. The years that I just sat in the house doing videos, didn't go out. Also, probably at the detriment of my health a little bit too, because wasn't working out too, drinking too. I gained weight, and I was a little bit uncomfortable with myself. I'm like, I don't want to go on camera. But I remember that thing on the shoulder saying, if you want to be number one, you got to do something that you can't, that's make you feel uncomfortable. So I went into Complex. First day. And by the way, they had told me it was Joe Budden. I said, fuck. I could tell how this is going to go. This nigga is going to probably try to swing on me. And I said, you know what? Fuck it. To do something you've never done or accomplish something you've never done, you got to do something you've never done. And I went in there. And I never, at this point, anything I've gotten in life was based on pure and sheer hard work. But I never interpreted it as hard work. And I remember one of the questions, it was a guy named Noah, he asked me, because they were very intrigued, like this Akademiks guy. They said, yo, how many people do you hire to you put out 7 videos a day, you have an Instagram page you're running, you do this, you're streaming. How many people work for you? I don't know if Joe will see this conversation, but I know he'll remember in that room. At that point, I was living with my girl. I had 0 employees. I ran a whole Instagram by myself. I slept 3 hours at a time. I would sleep 3 hours at night. I still kind of have that sleep schedule. 3 hours at night and about 3 hours midday. I had to be a 24-hour news network by myself. I had to parse through millions of tweets to get my info, whether it was for war in Chirac or exclusive shit, go through every DM, post on Instagram, write up scripts to do videos. It's a 24-hour job. And everybody, a company worth $300 million, were very intrigued because they thought I had a team of 10. They said, how many people work for you? I didn't want to seem like a peon. And I said to them, I got 4. It was nobody. It was just me. It was nobody. It was just me. Again, it goes back to what I'm saying. To me, hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard. I've only known how to outwork people. I've only known how to, listen, our average podcast is 3 hours. We might end up doing 9 today. And then I probably got to come back tomorrow and do 6. It's now ingrained in me, right? So that happened then. Obviously, we know the history that followed. Me and Joe, we had an amazing show. And the person who deserves, or the people who deserve this accolade the most is you guys. You guys been rocking with me for so long. Like, incredibly, so long. So long. That I remember back when I started Twitch and I started streaming, I started streaming off of the philosophy of 300. I had 1 million subs, or about 1 million subs on my main page, and I said, I'd rather have 300 like 300 strong soldiers than a million fly-by-night fans. And that was my mentality. When I started streaming, I had 23 people watching the first stream. Then I had 30, and then I had 56. And for a while, we pretty much, maybe 100, 200. But this is over 10 years now. And my thought was, if you follow me from YouTube to another platform, to a stream that probably was shitty. Yeah, somebody I'll probably be like, yo, Ak, why don't you have, I got a better house, but like, still got pretty much the same camera. Don't do that much, even though I'm going to do some IRL stuff this year. Me trying to get 300 loyal supporters to watch me, because I wanted to find my 300, have now turned into us having, pretty much every time we stream, upwards of 15,000 people watching. That's amazing. That's 10 years of work, 10 years of dedication, 10 years of y'all rocking with me, believing in me. Y'all have heard the worst things about me. Listen, I know how I am, and I know sometimes I ain't shit. And this is why I do love y'all, and I say this accolade is for the chat. Because anytime I talk to even a peer.
The stage is set. The competitors are ready. And on Sunday,
up, they have to defend me because people always be like, man, why you fuck with that nigga Akademiks? And I know if you watch me, and if I'm on your search history, or you would be like, oh shit, I gotta go watch Ak. You probably have gotten that in real life too. So I salute all of y'all because that's exactly what really does matter. You all have supported me. It's allowed our platform to have a voice. And to complete that story of the billboard, I remember I said, I was saying, I want to be number one. How do I get up there? Thank God for the internet and the changing culture that, radio is still an amazing place, but it's not, I don't think it's a place you have to be or end up if you want to be number one. I think this is living proof. But as digital media and independent media platforms were increasing, and that was you guys, I noticed, I said, the shit I was chasing, I didn't have to go get a billboard. I didn't have to go be on a billboard on the highway. I didn't have to go be in a radio station in one of the biggest markets or the biggest buildings in Times Square in the world. All I needed to do was to sit wherever the fuck I was going to be at, give quality information, quality entertainment, give you guys all of me, whether the good or the bad, and hope that more people come and join our struggle. And I'm very happy to say I think we've done that. Humbly, I do believe as a platform, but as also a media personality, because trust me, I look at this not only as a crowning for me as a personality, it's for me as a platform. If you remember the story of Jay-Z, that's kind of what this was, especially for me. Remember Jay said labels wouldn't give him a deal, so he made his own label? I wanted to get on radio. I was like, shit, I don't know none of these niggas. I always told y'all the story of I'm hitting people up and I'm getting curved left and right. I almost lost my job because I was calling out of work when they were canceling on me. And I said, rather than chase their platform, let me build mine. So I'm very happy that the platform of Akademiks, and now, of course, the company, the Academy, and, of course, me, DJ Akademiks, I'm glad we at least got some acknowledgement. Won't make this much longer after that. I'm just happy to, thank you, Complex. And lastly, I was reflecting about how hard and how incessantly and how tirelessly I kept going trying to be here. And yes, we could talk about defining moments. Dirk interview, dope. Maybe 6ix9ine interview. my relationship with certain people, Young Boy and others. You could say, well, you were mentioned both on the Kendrick Lamar and Drake disses. But for anybody watching, you don't get those moments unless you did everything I said before. Those moments are once you already won the race. You know, there's still people on Twitter saying, well, why did Drake drop it on? Why did they keep giving him the record? They lost. You have to win the race already. Rappers ain't loyal. They're going to rock with who they feel is the most relevant, who's going to do the most impact. That's how it's always been. So you got to do the work. That'll come. And of course, I'm very thankful to both Drake and Kendrick Lamar. I'll tell you one thing Drake said. When Push-Ups first leaked, Push-Ups was posted in a Reddit that was dedicated to me. The conversation me and Drake had, I said, hey, is this real? Drake looked at it. It was in my Reddit. Drake said to me, hey, could you delete it off of there? It was an unmixed, unfinished version of Push-Ups. Now, for whatever reason, he thought I control my Reddit. I have no idea what goes on my Reddit. Like, that's just the Wild Wild West. So I said, I don't really control it, but I could probably hit somebody to make a request for them to try to get it down. And he said, nah, it's okay. He said, Ak, do me a favor. And this is a real conversation. He said, don't post about it. And I'm kind of looking at it like, well, you know, people are going to post about it. He's like, Ak. And this is why I said the race was already won. For the people who will be like, why did I get this? And Drake says, Ak, you're the biggest. When you post about it, everybody knows. You're the biggest. If the rest of the narrative and the rest of the story doesn't make sense after that, the race wasn't won with the Kendrick Lamar thing. The platform was used because the race was already won. I'll go back to my ending. Anyway, again, after pursuing number one for so long and, you know, whatever, I'll say this, though. I've realized a new pressure, and I'm actually happy for this. I'm very happy for this. I thought, number one, I enjoyed the plight to get to this point. But in having 2 days before I even got on stream to reflect and to really gather my thoughts, I realized that, yeah, it's hard to get to and be number one. But it's a whole lot harder to stay number one. That's our new plight. Okay? So yeah, I've acknowledged that we've hit certain milestones in the last year. But we ain't trying to be the person who fell from top 1 to not mention at all, or from top 1 to top 10. It's kind of like the LeBron James shit. After, when you supposed to be the guy, when you win the first ring, we don't care about them playoff appearances no more. And we don't really care about oh yeah, he went to the second round. So again, it's pretty hard getting to number one, man, but I think it's going to be a whole lot harder trying to keep it. Joe, my guy, always love between me and you. You got one, I got one. Let's keep it going, man. As long as me and my guys, like, you know, one, number two, I think hip hop is, you know, is in a good place. Never forget what we started with Everyday Struggle. We represented the conversation that needed to happen and the conversation that was at a juncture. We had people who were more traditionalists, people that came from a different era, who were confronted with people who were more sales focused, new era, new styles, new generation. That's where hip hop met in a crossroads, and it's grew beautifully from then. And for that, I am truly honored, and I'm very happy. All right. Okay, enough of my speech. I ain't gonna lie, I'm body these speeches, right? Let's get into some hip hop shit, man. Let's get into some hip hop shit.